Have you ever just stopped and looked around and wondered why we live where we do? You know, from the quietest little farm to the craziest, busiest city, our whole world is this patchwork of different places we call home. Today we're going to go on a little journey to figure out the hidden logic behind how and why we build the world around us.
I mean, it's a pretty big question when you think about it, right? Yeah, sure, we like being around other people, but it's way deeper than just wanting some company. Why all the structure? The clusters of houses, the web of roads? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, and it all boils down to one thing: just making life work together.
So, there's a word for any place where people live together, and that word is a settlement. That's the key concept for today. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny farm, a village, a town, or a massive city. If people are living there as a community, yep, it's a settlement. And there it is. That's the big why. We live together in these settlements because it's just the best way to meet our basic needs, to survive and, to have a good life. Everything we build, every job that exists, it's all part of this massive group project.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, with the smallest and simplest kinds of settlements where that connection to the land is super direct and obvious.
So, on one side, you've got the farm. It's all about the land, right? Growing food, raising animals. It can only really support a handful of people. But then you get a village. It's a little cluster of homes, a step up in how things are organized. You might even find a little shop or a school. Those are the very first signs of shared community services. But what happens when these little communities start to grow? Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. As more and more people gather in one spot, the whole way of life just completely transforms. Just look at this progression. It tells an amazing story of growth. A farm, maybe 30 people, all focused on farming. A village can double that, and you start to see the first specialized jobs, like a teacher or a nurse. But then, whoa, look at that jump. A town can have over 50,000 people. Now you need doctors, bankers, proper roads. And then, the city, a metropolis with over 3 million people. We're talking skyscrapers, airports, and jobs like architects and engineers. The change isn't just about getting bigger. It's a total reinvention of work and life. So you go from just 30 people on a farm to a city with over 3 million. The scale is just mind-blowing. So how on earth do you coordinate the needs of that many people?
Well, a big part of the answer is specialization. When you have a bigger population, you suddenly have a market big enough to support all these different jobs. You're not just a farmer anymore. You can be a doctor, a mechanic, a chef, a banker, whatever, because there are enough people around who need those specific skills. Every single job becomes a tiny piece in a gigantic, complex puzzle.
Of course, with bigger places and more people, you need systems to connect everything and everyone. How do we get from A to B? How do we even find our way around in the first place?
The most basic connections are, of course, paths. We have roads, which are built for vehicles like cars and trucks to move people and stuff around, and they can be anything from a dirt track to a paved highway. And then you've got footpaths, smaller routes just for people, maybe some animals or bikes. Definitely no cars allowed there.
But in a big town or a city, just knowing the roads isn't enough, right? We need landmarks. A landmark is basically any feature that's easy to spot and helps us figure out where we are. It's that thing you tell your friend to look for when you're giving directions, like, yeah, turn right at the giant clock tower, you can't miss it.
And these landmarks pretty much come in two flavors. First, you've got natural landmarks, stuff that nature put there for us, like a river, a big hill, or even a really huge old tree. Then you have the man-made landmarks, things we built ourselves, statues, really unique buildings, bridges, you name it. Both are absolutely crucial for helping us build a mental map of our world.
All right, so let's zoom back out and tie all these pieces together. We've got farms, cities, jobs, roads, landmarks. What is the whole point? What's the grand design here? It all comes back to this. Every single settlement, from the tiniest farm to the biggest city, is a super complex system that we've designed to efficiently provide these basic human needs: food and water, shelter, clothing, healthcare, and energy.
So how do we actually provide for all those needs? Well, we use resources, and you can basically group these resources into 3 main categories. We've got natural resources that come from the earth, like soil and water. We've got technological resources that we've invented, like machines and computers. And, super importantly, we have people, our skills, our brains, and our hard work.
And here's how it all comes together in a really simple, powerful process. Step 1, we take those 3 resources, natural, tech, and people. Step 2, we use them to build infrastructure, things like hospitals and roads. And step 3, that infrastructure lets us provide all the services that meet our needs. It's that simple.
And this is the end result. All that planning, all that building, all that work, it leads to the services that make our lives possible. Healthcare, schools, transportation, stores, sanitation, even parks and places to have fun.
And this right here is really the key takeaway. It's so easy to look at a building and just see a building, or a road and just see a road. But they're all connected parts of this huge system that we've built together over centuries, all with the goal of helping each other not just survive, but actually live well and thrive.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on. Our world is always changing. Our needs change, our technology is constantly evolving, so our settlements are going to keep changing too. So what do you think is next? What will the cities and towns of the future actually look like?